Hey everyone, and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be talking about the 52% win rate problem. This is a bit of an awkward topic to touch on, but I felt as though I had a responsibility to do so. So recently, I've been learning a second champion, a new champion on my low diamond MMR account. As we usually do, we go on a second account to learn champions, and as a result, because I'm learning, I have a pretty subpar win rate. 11 wins, 18 losses, 38% win rate, pretty stock standard for learning a new champion. And so I thought, you know what, let's do a little experiment. Let's see what happens when no one knows me on this account. I'm just going to play, do my best, learn this new champion and see what happens. So, I queue up, mid to low diamond, start hovering my champion in the champ select. Now, a few things would occur. Either someone in the lobby would literally straight up type in chat, I'm going to dodge you because you have a 30% win rate or whatever it is. And that would literally dodge the game. I'm like, okay, you do you. You're going to dodge the game. They would either ban my champion so I wouldn't be able to play it, or they would literally just start flaming me. Start straight away, champ select. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Let's continue on. Now in the game, if the enemy mid laner that I'm versing made a really good play, they outplayed me, inevitably, I made a mistake or slipped up, whatever, they just made a really good play, I would get flamed so hard that my team have already checked out, and to be honest, I've had to instantly mute chat and just continue to do my thing. I would get flamed so hard. Or I make one mistake and I'm scum of the earth. I'm the worst player they've ever seen. They're disgusted to have me in their games. They simply cannot play. We must FF. We must get out of this game. Now, these are some extra little interesting findings. The people that weren't even toxic in the game, that seemed like actually nice people, were somewhat pressured to be against me to kind of fit in, which I found really interesting. Any good play I made was completely ignored, even if I made up for it, I made this beautiful play, got us back into the game, whatever. No one says a single thing. 3, people gave up so much faster than I've basically ever seen. It was, to be honest with you, it was actually kind of overwhelming. One simple mistake and people were saying 15. This is way more than the average, solo queue experience for me in my history of playing the game. And the other thing is that the people that also were doing somewhat subpar or poor in the game would actually dogpile onto me to shift the blame onto me so that they wouldn't get flamed. They would actually use flame as a defense mechanism to dogpile on me, distract their attention away from themselves so they don't get flamed, to use me as like cannon fodder in a way. And I found this really fascinating. And these are just some examples of the sorts of things you would see. Just depressing to see trash like you kill the game, 35% win rate players who literally never play this game again. People just constantly bring out win rate. Love how my 40% win rate, I've got a 43% win rate player on my team. It is in their head the entire game. One little thing, it's like a ticking time bomb. Got to bring up that win rate. Now, my theory upon doing this little experiment here, the perceived pain of having a low win rate is so bad that we self-sabotage our process of improvement. For us, it's better to have a 60% win rate and actually look good than actually be good at the game. Now, if we take a look at 2 classic OPGGs, now I just went to the bottom of Master Tier on my server. I got 2 OPGGs with very similar LP, but with 2 completely differing win rates. On the left-hand side, this is what we would all say in league community, league culture. This is a beautiful, sexy OPGG. Look at this. 77% win rate, sub 100 games. Look at this. Red, all these beautiful little colors everywhere. Amazing. This guy must be so good. And on the right-hand side, we have the ugly, or in gamer terms, cringe. This guy's a cringe, turbo boosted cringe player. Look at this. Only a 52% win rate over 900 games. This guy must be hard stuck, terrible player. Similar champ pools, but at a very similar rank. Now, if we were to have one of these beautiful, prestigious OPGGs, we get that flame protection, we get that confidence, we get the e-girls, we get the fame, the MMR, the juicy LP, the flame rights, we get the flex capabilities to our friends. We get it all. We get the whole package. Or this is at least what we perceive it to be. Now, this is even pushed through league culture. You see all over Twitter, General Sniper, 15-year-old, blah, 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 challenger player. He got to rank 1. I'm not saying anything bad about this guy, whatever. This is just a recent screen cap of the NA solo queue letter on the right-hand side. General Sniper, 245 wins, 191 losses with a 56% win rate, really good LP, great player, beautiful. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at the ladder and I'm like, this is very little games played. He obviously has an incredibly good MMR. He hasn't really been at the top of played at these challenger level games for a very long time because he literally doesn't have many games played. Well, what people failed to talk about is that look on some other solo queue ladders and let's actually compare this with challenger solo queue grinders. The rank 1 guy in Korean solo queue at the moment. Look at that. 1,600 games with a 53% win rate. Genji Quid, rank 12, 1,400 LP. Look at that, 2,100 games with a 52% win rate. I don't think people quite understand how much better this player would be, or this player would be, comparatively to General Sniper. This is, again, nothing to do with General Sniper. This is just the league culture. We put such an emphasis on the LP. We don't realize that getting to this amount of LP with this win rate, or this win rate, comparatively to this, it's night and day. The quality of the player you will get comparatively is unbelievable. And this is just one of the many things within the league culture that is pushing this nonsense about the importance of good quality win rates. Now, what does this all lead to? This is all pro player stuff. This doesn't really apply to us, whatever. This is basically what I'm seeing. And in my opinion, this is like a goddamn epidemic, right? Let's just take the average gold 4 player that's aiming to get to platinum 4. Maybe they watch some educational content, they get some coaching, whatever, and they slowly, or maybe they start reviewing their games. They slowly climb to platinum 4 with a 52 to 54% win rate. Pretty stock standard because we only ever improve in League through incremental small little improvements, therefore resulting in a pretty average/poor MMR. So eventually they get to platinum 4 with this 52 to 54% win rate, whatever. But this is normal, right? Because the MMR is basically telling you that you are a platinum 4 player. You are where you're meant to be. If you had a higher MMR, or you're getting insane LP gains, you'd be telling the system that you're way above your level of play and you shouldn't be here. But that's not really the case. The system wants you to be here for you to prove yourself that you deserve to be at this rank for starters. You didn't just get lucky. And more importantly, that you're going to take those small incremental improvements to slowly prove yourself that you're platinum 3 worthy or platinum 2 worthy. This is how it all works. But then what happens? We've got this very ugly, average looking OPGG. And then our friends, we've got our friendship group. We see these league communities and they start saying, oh my God, this guy's win rate, look at his account. It's so much sexier than mine. Oh my God, my win rate's terrible. People start judging your KDAs, your win rates, all this stuff. And you start feeling a little bit insecure. Oh shit, I guess they're right. Maybe I'm actually not that good at the game. I mean, that would make sense why I'm actually kind of stuck in platinum 4 now. Then what happens? Well, either I get a new account, I buy a new account and start over and try with the intention of getting better MMR, right? If I get better MMR, I can climb. Since I'm plat 4 level now anyway, why don't I just get a new account? I'll steamroll through gold, have this beautiful looking account with an amazing win rate. That's going to be the ticket for me out of platinum 4, platinum 3, that I can boost my way to platinum 2 and I'll be out of this trash low platinum 4. And in the process of doing so, if you don't even get this account, let's just say you stick with this platinum 4 account with pretty average MMR, you're going to start to blame externals. You're going to start to shift away this responsibility because you don't want to say to your friends, look guys, it is my fault. I am just I am just at this level of play. I am just a platinum 4 player. No, it has to be all these other externals because we need to shift that responsibility away from us to protect our ego, protect this insecurity, okay? Now, let's just say you do buy that second account. What's going to happen? Well, you get this second account with this beautiful LP gains, beautiful MMR. Well, yes, inevitably you are going to probably skyrocket to platinum 3, platinum 2. But then what happens? You get that temporary boost, you keep playing on this account, but because eventually the system will realize you're not that level of play, you're eventually going to go all the way back down, start losing games, your MMR is going to go to shit again, and then you're going to rinse, repeat, and continue to blame externals. Now, this is just the start of it. It gets even worse than this, okay? Because you're playing less games at your rank, like you're actually going back to gold and silver, playing all these games again with all these players that are below your level of play, you're not actually getting better. You only get better at the game when you're versing players of your rank. And to be honest with you, you actually can get worse when you're constantly versing players of a lower rank. That's why when you see these high elo players, there's content creators that were high elo, literally start smurfing down in gold and silver and platinum. And when they go back onto their main account, they struggle because they've picked up all these poor habits. They're literally playing, you're only as good as your opponent at the end of the day. So in the process of making the second account or buying the second account, doing this whole process, all this bullshit, you're literally getting worse at the game or simply going nowhere. Then, as a result, your mind is starting to focus on MMR and win rates a lot. It's revolving. The win rates and the MMR becomes the sun. We're the earth. We're revolving around that. That's the center of our universe. Now, inevitably, because we're not okay with losing, because what would losing mean? Well, losing means, holy shit. Losing doesn't mean, okay, it's okay, we can learn and move on. Losing means less MMR, worse win rate. I probably got to make another account. This is not good. My friends are going to judge me, whatever. It inevitably ends up in a form of ranked anxiety because we're so scared of losing. Now, because we get this fear of losing, we're starting to focus on these factors out of our control, this lowers our focus on how we actually perform and how we play in these games, and the learning just isn't happening. We aren't focusing on the learning whatsoever. Now, as a result of this, due to all this wasted time, lack of learning, ranked anxiety, fear of losing, we are further pushing the narrative that you don't actually get better at the game. We can't improve at the game. We're stuck. We're bad. We can't actually get better at the game. And then we become so desperate to climb, we get so desperate that we over-index even more into the win rates and then MMR. We've strayed so far away from the process. We've strayed so far away. We're on like some crazy desert highway when we were on this other road trillions of miles away, which just inevitably leads to an incredibly miserable league solo queue experience, leads to toxicity and increased insecurity. And this is a goddamn epidemic. Now, as a result, this leads to even worse improvement processes or simply none at all. Most of the time I see none. Your improvement process is non-existent, which leads to, in my opinion, the most toxic and most dangerous part of this entire thing, a fixed mindset and the inability to improve mentally. You just don't believe that you can get better at the game. And then eventually, later on, they start to get coaching. They come to me, Coach Curtis, I need help. I'm hard stuck gold or plat for X many seasons. I've got 8 accounts. What do I do? Well, these players end up being so delusional about their level of play that they're so hard to coach. They're allergic to the small details. They're so caught up with the dodging, the MMR, the losers queue, the teammates, that they've actually forgotten that they're just trying to improve at the game. They're still just playing poor individually. So the sooner you realize that the only way to climb and improve at the game is by having us, grind with a 52% win rate, you're just going to be stuck. And this is the only way to generate a healthy relationship with the game. Incremental improvement. Now, what does this all mean? Well, whenever anything gets hard, we just give up or we look for an excuse. And the classic example of this is the plateau example. And I've said this many times within my videos, we get hard stuck. So generally what will happen, you're going to slowly improve at the game incrementally. And then you're going to get to a new rank where the level of play has suddenly risen a little bit. Now, when you get to this new rank here, let's just say it's Diamond 4 or Plat 2 usually. Plat 2 is a big plateau point. And things get, a little bit tricky. What do people do? Well, do they, gather all their strength and muster up all this confidence and start to get into the review and grind these games out and really try to take responsibility and improve? No, not really. They'll probably give up, go on a second account, go on a tilt spree, go back to their previous habits, go all the way back to Plat 4, anything but get into the details. So I'll start asking questions like, did you get specific about what made the trades good or poor in this game? No. Did you compare with how you played the lane comparatively to someone else that's higher elo? No. Did you look for missed opportunities in your review process? Yes, coach. No, you didn't do that. No one did that. No one does that. So I truly believe that all these people that say they're stuck and they think that their MMR's out to the main reason, losers queue, teammates, no one's really stuck. And look, a really good example of this is actually think of karate belts, right? Think of it karate. You get like, I don't know the order of the belts, like it was blue belt, brown belt, black belt, whatever. Do we ever hear anyone say, I'm hard stuck at a belt? No, not really, because people in karate, they intuitive, they understand that there's a process, there's a reason why someone's higher than them, and they realize that there's probably work to be done there, and there's a set of skills that they probably need to develop, and then they're just going to chip away and improve over time. We don't really ever get to hear that, do we? Which I find super interesting. Now, what the common response to all this thing, they'll usually say, Curtis, isn't this just completely contradictory to high elo? There's a lot of these high elo players that have poor processes, care a lot about win rate. How come they're high elo? Yes, you're accurate. There are these players that care a lot about win rates and have poor processes, but there is one quality that differentiates them to the large majority of the community. And what I'm going to do right now is show you a clip from my recent Broken by Concept podcast that really dives into this specific question. Now, again, the big thing that we always talk about is process. But then you get players, their process sucks ass, and they're still high elo. Now, I thought back to the best players that I've ever worked with. Where I'm talking Triple, now dominating in NALCS with FlyQuest. I'm talking King. I'm talking Fantix. We're talking Chippies. Like very good players, individual players that could, now international, done amazing things, etc. Now, when I think about, I got specific in my mind. I went back on my memory and I went back to the situations where they made a mistake. Now, Triple was probably the biggest one of this, and even Fantix, both mid laners, exceptional players, some of the best I've seen. And I remember vividly when they would make terrible mistakes, like big mistakes, even mistakes that, probably weren't game costing, but like bad for the game, they would be fucking pissed.
That's right.
Like they would be you can't talk to them.
No.
It's that bad.
Yeah.
Like they were so angry.
Yeah.
Like they physically, their whole demeanor would change,
changes.
their whole physiology. They are fucking angry. Not even towards anyone else, to everyone, but themselves the most.
Yeah.
They hold themselves to this incredible standard that they're in their own world at that point. And I remember distinctly, Triple, he would I remember he made this, when it was in a scrim or something, and he just turned, he's like the nicest guy, and then he flips a switch, and he just turns into like this asshole straight away. And it's all at himself. And he's like, I'm just so fucking... Like, he's just self-deprecating, terrible. And then this all ties back to, again, that elitist mentality, but more specifically, let's tie it back to the formula. Pain plus reflection equals progress.
Yeah.
Now, with these players, yes, their process isn't that efficient. But when they make those mistakes, they burn that mistake into their
painful
memory.
Experience.
They overemphasize the pain to the extreme.
To make it a painful experience.
To make it such a painful experience that it's, quote them, disgusting to make that mistake again.
Yeah.
Now, this is toxic.
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah.
And it's not sustainable, but it works.
It works, yeah.
It works. And what these players do is that... they are so disgusted by their mistakes that they can't fathom to make that mistake again. Because that would be just so unacceptable. Because that would mean... And then what they will say, and what's interesting is that if you look at it at a base level, you look at it on Twitch, and you'll see one of these players stream, and then on the surface, it just looks like they're toxic. Right? And they might even be toxic. But what you don't actually see is that they're actually toxic to themselves.
Yeah.
Now, they will say things like, this guy sucks... They'll just be pissed off. They'll say things. And you could easily misinterpret that by them shifting responsibility and blaming others and all these things that aren't conducive of improvement. But what you don't see behind the scenes is that they are, again, holding themselves to this incredibly high standard. So let's say you watch this video and you're like, Curtis, finally, okay, I get it. I really need to stop focusing on my win rate, get into the details, get into the review, and figure out why I'm at the rank I am. I want to do it. How do I do it? So basically what I want to do now is share with you a 3-stage process, something that I use within my own coaching sessions within my Mid Lane Academy to identify and fix core gameplay issues. And I haven't really shared this publicly yet, apart from on the podcast actually. So what we're going to do is step through how this works, and then we're going to apply it. We're going to show you how we can apply it in an example in a second. So in my opinion, every problem, every mistake can fit into one of these three categories. It's either a stage 3 problem, a stage 2 problem, or a stage 1 problem. And it's very important to correctly identify which one it is, because that determines the type of solution or the steps you need to take in order to fix it. Okay, if you misdiagnose or incorrectly diagnose a problem, then you're actually not going to be able to improve upon that issue. It's literally going to stay there. So essentially, a stage 3 problem is that of like a mindset issue, maybe a role assessment issue in the game, a champ identity understanding issue, or maybe a lack of focus, autopiloting issue. This is something to do with like mindset, frame of reference, the way you're viewing the situation from like a mental standpoint. The stage 2 is more like a straight theory decision-making problem, like where you don't really maybe understand the theory or an element of the game, more of like a knowledge problem. And the stage 1 is just purely micro and execution. Okay, and to clarify this, let's actually just go through a few examples. So what we're going to do now is go through a few clips to identify and look at, what is a stage 1, 2, or 3 issue. So this was a recent clip from one of my solo queue games that I played, I think it was yesterday. Playing Casio here, game's relatively even / slightly ahead, and my Nautilus gets caught out. And I beeline to the fight. Nautilus nearly survives. I missed my ultimate. It was a terrible linear ultimate. Misplaced my W. And then I end up compensating and then just dying with my no summoners. Disastrous. Terrible play. So where I would start in a play like this, if I really want to get to the crux of why I made this decision and what the core issue is, I'll start with, is it a stage 1 problem? So tying back to that framework, is it a micro misexecution problem? So therefore, I'll look at my ability usage. I'll look at like just straight up my micro. I'll look at maybe the order of my abilities, the way I use them. I'll look at everything to do with the ability usage and the micro specifically. Because sometimes the player's good, your mindset's good, everything's all good, but you simply just misexecuted. In which, here, yes, my micro was a problem, but I don't think that even with good quality ability usage, I don't even think this was a fight that we should be taking in this moment in time, and I'll get to that in a second. So, look, I can safely tick that one off. Not saying I played it perfectly mechanically, but I really don't think that's the main issue here. Then I'll go to stage 2. Is it a stage 2 problem? Now, a stage 2 problem generally is more like a lapse. Maybe there's a series of information within the game that I'm not processing. Maybe there's some concept or knowledge that I'm not understanding, whether it's trading sides of the map. Maybe I'm not aware of objectives that are up and not up. Something to do with knowledge and information and the decision within the game itself. So here, looking at it, I had no idea that Heimerdinger wasn't here. If you asked me where the hell Heimerdinger was in this scenario, I couldn't tell you. I had no idea. My awareness of my main carry, and Heimerdinger was actually the Fed member of this game, I couldn't tell you where he was. In my mind, I could probably say, oh yeah, I guess Heimerdinger is near us. No, Heimerdinger was not here. And that was, in my opinion, looking at it, the core issue. I was not aware of where my main win condition was in terms of just straight up whereabouts, which is a crucial part of information because I think, great, linear team fight. I got my Lee Sin here. In my mind, Heimerdinger was also in the area as well. This could have been a good fight, but no, Heimerdinger wasn't here. I wasn't processing a massive piece of information. So if it's a stage 2 problem, guys, it's generally some form of knowledge within the game or some form of concept in the game itself that you are not understanding, which is simple. It can be an actionable little learning objective. It might be a variable that you're not considering. It might be a concept you might need to look at videos online about. This can be really good to go through with a friend, that sort of thing. Now, look, just to go through and finish the process, is it a stage 3 problem? And how would I know if it's a stage 3 problem? Then I would go back in time, really put myself in the shoes of myself, how I felt in the moment, and start reflecting. Did I feel tilted in the game? Was I focused? Was I high intensity? Was I aware of my role in the comp? Was I aware of the win conditions at the time? Was my frame of reference, the way I was viewing the game, correct? Was I tilted? Was I feeling pressured to be the carry that I had to make something happen? Was I thinking clearly? These are all the sorts of questions that I would ask myself because sometimes we make decisions, and I'll show an example of a second what that looks like, where, no, we know that this is the incorrect play, and we know that we should never go for this play in hindsight, which says that it's not really a theory problem or a knowledge problem. It's more of like a mentality issue, in which then there might be a problem within your LoL state usage, your pre-game ritual, are you spamming games, playing with low intensity? There has to be something else at play there. So at the moment, I remember thinking back to this, I was feeling pretty free flow. I clearly understood that me and Heimer were the win conditions, at least in the game. I just simply didn't know Heimerdinger's whereabouts whatsoever. I wasn't thinking about that whatsoever. A crucial part of information when determining whether to go for a fight or not. Okay, so moving on, we have another example here, and this is a classic stage 2 problem. So he's playing Echo into LeBlanc. He's rock and rolling 1 kill. He's minimized the early lane. He goes in for this trade onto the LeBlanc. And it was a terrible, terrible trade. Now, no. Let's look at this from the 3 stages. It's not a stage 1 because he couldn't really have played it any better micro-wise. I mean, you can't expect an Echo to avoid an E that close to the LeBlanc when he has no E himself. It was just a terrible trade. This is definitively a stage 2 because he didn't understand the trading patterns. He didn't understand the knowledge of how to trade effectively into LeBlanc into this matchup. He didn't know that you can't use your E proactively into a LeBlanc with everything up unless you are behind minions in which you can defend yourself from the LeBlanc chain. You need to use your E reactively to avoid LeBlanc's chain. You just need to minimize. You need to relax. You can't beat the LeBlanc in the 1v1 at this point in time. But he didn't know the trading patterns, and that's okay. That's a simple knowledge gap that you can learn from VOD reviews. You can learn from people playing the matchup. Understanding the trading patterns is a classic stage 2 problem. Okay, now fast forwarding a little bit here, you want to see in a second, the exact same game, same player here. This is an example of a stage 3 issue where his jungler just finished up the dragon. For some reason, he's not using his pots, but that's a whole different problem. And I remember asking him, said, what's going on here? And he's like, yeah, I didn't want Jarvan to gank. So Jarvan actually ends up just ganking this LeBlanc, and he didn't want this play. She's like, do I need to go back mid? Is the play over? What do I need to do? And then Jarvan dies. Now in this scenario, he's like, oh my god, I got to get revenge. I got to make something happen. And he could have easily just leveled up R, escaped here. Look what he chooses to do. He chooses to level up his ult, hold his ult, and try and get a little, a fancy Jalon Ban play. Okay, so what's interesting about this is that in hindsight, or even in the game itself, he knew this was a bad play. He knew this is just compensation. He knew that this was never going to work. But this play and this decision didn't come from a logical weighing up of, variables and a lack of, it's not like he clearly understood the situation, but you know what, I'm going to do this because I think I can genuinely get the LeBlanc kill and get in, get out. No, this is a tilt play. This is a compensation play. And this comes from a sense of frustration. This comes from a place of, some form of lack of poise. So he compensates, and instead of escaping, he chooses to try and outplay again. Again, he knew he could escape. When I spoke to him, this is one of my coaching clients. No, this has nothing to do with stage 2 or stage 1. This is a simple stage 3 mindset issue. In which, what I would say about this one, and one of the biggest problems I have here with this specific client, is that he's not okay with the chaotic nature of solo queue. And we did a Broken by Concept episode on this called the solo queue contract, where you have to go in to each and every solo queue game with the intention or with the thought process that people on my team are going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen that suck ass for me. I don't want this. It's going to happen though. Sometimes people don't understand your champion's identity. They don't understand your matchup as well as you. Shit happens. You got to be able to let it go and say, okay, this sucks. What's next? What is good for me? You must be okay with the chaotic nature of the game, and he can't wrap his head around. He's struggling with dealing with this concept, and we're working through this slowly. In which sometimes reflection. This is where you probably got to get help by a coach and get people to talk you through the mental side of the game. So hopefully this clarifies a little bit for you guys what the stage 1, 2, 3 process looks like, and how you guys can apply it to your own games to really identify how you would battle and how you would really solve some of these issues within your gameplay. So to wrap it all up, guys, before you make that second account, before you check that OPGG, before you flame your friend's win rate, before you feel insecure about your own account, remember, there is literally no other way to climb. You must focus on your own improvement process. Create your own improvement process. Always bring it back to that process. I want to see dirty OPGGs like my friend here. In the Midland Academy, if I see these shitty little OPGG accounts that have like no games played with a 70% win rate, I don't even want to review it. I couldn't care less. I want to see a dirty win rate like my friend here. This is my friend Getback in OS. This is a beautiful OPGG in my mind. And he's like an amazing mid laner. Look at why. He's not afraid to learn and fail. He doesn't give a shit about the win rates. He doesn't care about how he looks. He's learning. He's executing. He's playing. Nearly 1,000 games in Challenger. He's going to be a bloody good mid laner. I want to see you replicate this sort of thing here, right, guys? So, good luck in your solo queue journeys, and hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight. And see you around for the next video. Cheers.